Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is George Schlacek and I am
the one and only.
What's your dream bike? Is it a $6,000 carbon bike that you can lift up with your pinky finger? Or perhaps it's a custom-built chromoly bike, hand-built? Perhaps a classic road bike from the 1980s. How about an Italian one? To me, personally, nothing is more desirable than a bike that I've built with my own hands and that I can ride long and hard. And I sort of just built that bike. In this video, I'm doing my best to share the process with you. I hope you'll find it useful, and if you have any questions, comments, or critique, please, there's a comment section for that. And by the way, my bike is Italian. Sort of.
Ah, come on, Giorgio. Have a pizza and cut to the crap.
Alright, the plan is to put some decals on this bike frame. Yeah, the strategy here is to rub this with alcohol before gluing them on. I want them to stay on there long term. So rub the tubes, they're nice and smooth. See, this is what it is. There's a head badge. There's two for the down tube, big ones. Two for the seat tube, smaller ones. And then for the top tube, there's two with the signature. This one and that one goes also on the seat tube. Well, first I'm going to cut out the stickers, the individual stickers. They are on the foil, so you put the whole thing on and then pull off the foil that covers them at the top. I love this stuff. This is the hardest part. You peel this off. See how it's coming? It's really thin. Really watch. Oh, this is not good. There, got it. You see that? There you have it. A fake or semi-fake Bianchi bike. Let's have a closer look. See, if I was like really picky, I'd have to kick myself because right there is where the thumb shifters go. I'm not a perfectionist though, but see, this is gonna look quite beautiful. Once that is a complete bike. See, and there's the fake stuff. Like, none of this is made in Italy except one thing, and I believe that's the Campagnolo axle skewer. There you go. Right now I'm moving to cleaning this fork. Just took it off the Bianchi frame. It's a chrome fork. It's really nice, but it's got some corrosion on the inside, and on certain spots it's probably just surface rust. So I'm going to remove it with the rest of my aluminum foil and the spray 9. That should get rid of it right there. Start on one side and then the other. Wipe this off. Yeah, see, it's a nice fork. I have to get in there with something. And this side, see, this is what the other side looked like before. And you can see the difference. We are now looking at the parts for the headset. I'm going to be reusing the same parts. I cleaned them up pretty good. And we have the top race and the bottom race. Both are in good shape, so I'm going to be just reusing them. I'm going to put grease on all the surfaces and then put my caged bearings in there and tighten it ever so slightly until there's no play. Pretty simple, actually. I make sure that the ball bearings are completely covered with grease. Now, as I'm putting this in, I'm going to show you because it is possible to put this upside down. So you got to make sure that the ball bearings are actually touching the race. This is the top. The bottom will be done exactly the same. I'm not going to be showing it. Just so you know, it's exactly the same way. See, the bottom race is on the fork and the top one is on the bike. Alright, I apologize for not showing how I actually put this on. Basically, you just put the bearings in onto the lower race on the fork. Make sure everything's greased. Push the fork right through there. Screw this on, and you've seen how I put the ball bearings on there, I think. So you could tighten it just by hand. Right now, it seems to be okay. There's no play, and it's going relatively smoothly. There's a spacer that goes here. Then a lock nut, and then there's another lock nut that goes on top. So this is what secures it to the fork. This lock nut, I'll be using a spanner wrench to tighten it against this race, which is also a nut. And at the end, I'll be putting this on top, and I'll give it a twist with the wrench. See, fits on there just the same. And by the time that is done, we're ready to put our stem in there with the handlebar. It's almost a bike now. You can almost call it that. What you see are two derailleurs and one set of thumb shifters. I found them in the parts bin at our local community bike shop. They're all Sun Tour, so I believe they're gonna do very well on my Bianchi bike. They're all 1980s type equipment. This is exactly what I want. This one looks like brand new. They need to be cleaned up just a little bit. Like you could see that this one, somebody painted it black where the clamp is. I don't really know what that's about. I'll try to brush this off. If I can't, it's not a big deal. This one here, it's the front derailleur. See, the cable has to come from below, goes in there. There's the pinch bolt. I'm now just gonna clean those parts. I got some soapy water, brush, another brush, just like doing the dishes. All these parts are good mid-range parts from the 1980s. This is a bike that's meant to be ridden, not a museum piece. I like the simplicity of those parts and the whole setup.
Pizzeria.
I just installed these thumb shifters. Now the problem, as you can see, is the way I put my decal on there. Unfortunately, that is on there good. It won't come off. So it's gonna have to stay like that. Yeah, I goofed. Now the other side, thank goodness I remembered. Yeah, it works good, see? Ratcheting mechanism. Next step is to set up the derailleur. Right now it's on there just loose. See, when I push this inwards, it clears the chain wheel by about 2 or 3 millimeters there. That might be just about right. See, the challenge is to get it so that when it's on the inner chain wheel, it still clears the chain. So there might be some fine adjustment to do once we got the chain on there and we try this out. But for now, I'm going to tighten it, not too tight, just securely in that position. See, I got a bolt there. That's, I believe, a 8 millimeter socket. Of course, this also has to be parallel to the chain ring. Again, there might be some fine tuning needed. Now, for the purpose of installing the rear derailleur, I'm going to assume that the derailleur hanger is straight. I have no tool here to check this. I will ride this bike to the community bike shop, and if there's any problem, I have the tool there and I will straighten this. I'll put some anti-seize on the threads there. For this step I need a 6mm Allen key, and here you see the derailleur is on now, and I like to set up my limit screws before I even put the chain on, just by eyeballing the position here. Yeah, let's see how far this goes in when I push it here. See, it's going farther than it should because it's going to hit the chain protector. We don't want that. From what I can see, it looks pretty straight, so that's a good sign. Now I'm going to adjust the high limit screw. It's this one that is closer to me right now that needs to be turned inward. And they named this after the way the gears go. I used to have trouble with that, determining the difference between low and high. But see, the lowest gear is always the biggest one in the back. That's for climbing hills. So the limit screw for the low end is the one with the L. Pretty simple. See, I believe now my adjustment is pretty close to what it needs to be. See, I've got a secure gap there of about 2mm to my chain protector. The derailleur jockey wheels are just about in line with the granny gear. So this one is already basically good to go. This other one, same idea. I push this over. That looks okay to me. Maybe I have to turn it a bit. I'll wait till I put the chain on there. I'm going to put the chain on there now. Okay, the chain comes in a little box like this. It's really cute. See what I have with it here? There's a link here. It goes together like this. See? Slides into one another, both halves. The chain isn't necessarily the length that it needs to be. What I need to do is I put it on the big chain wheel and the granny gear, and then I see where it lands. I could take this much off the chain, and since I have a chain breaker tool on my multi-tool here, I'm just going to make use of that right now. So if I have too much slack in that chain, it's not going to do any good. Now I connect it with this, my connecting link. But before I do this, I have to run it through the rear derailleur, of course. See, now it'll put some tension on there, which is why I need more hands. And the chain is on. See, this is the first time this cranks and it makes the rear wheel move. I can hear some drag. Yeah, it is rubbing on this, which means this needs to come further out. This limit screw has to be backed off. Just by a little bit. Then the spring is going to take care of the rest. See, if I push this inward now, it'll shift. There. Let it go. I'll push it too far. That's okay, adjustment issues. Limit screw back in, just a little bit. Before going any further on this, I'm going to put some cables in there. Then the bike's almost going to be fully functional. Isn't that amazing? Alright, to do the shifter cables, obviously this side is for the rear derailleur and the other side is for the front derailleur. That's the way they always go. And see, I got cable guides on the bottom bracket here, and in the back I have a cable stop. So there will be a cable housing from here to right there. That's a little adjuster here, and then I believe the pinch bolt is right there. That's kind of interesting. The cable end is going to stick out through there. I will have to use both hands to do this, but I'll show you how the front derailleur will be set up. If you look underneath the bottom bracket, there's another cable guide, I will have to put a cable housing right up to that and up to right there. See, this is what we're trying to move, like that. There you see me move it. Yeah, I gotta pull it through so that it is tight here. I'll try it. We got that one figured out. Now we gotta hook up the front derailleur too. Alright, the front derailleur is set up. It was simple to do. See that piece of cable housing that is there that you can see coming out between the chainstays? That's what I needed. Yeah, the shifter works. I mean the derailleur. You can see all our stuff here. It's now functional. There, that's me, the bike behind me. I am happy to report that I just did the first 100 or so meters on that bike, and so far everything works, except there's no seat. So now I gotta dig up the seat post that may be a little bit too large, but it was the best I could do at our bike shop. I got a seat for it. I might have to sand down, or I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but it's a fraction of a millimeter that seat post probably has to get smaller, and I'm gonna get it on there. See what I got? It's an ugly old seat post. My goal is to get it in there today. Let's measure the seat post. 26 point something. What I have to do, put that in like this, and then I have to check what it says here. Well, I would say that is 25 point something. Today's a good day because, well, I kind of got a new bike. See behind me there? And see where there was nothing before? There's now a seat post and a seat. You saw me grinding away at that seat post, and it actually worked. I did it with sandpaper and a little bit with the file at the end, and making sure to always keep it round. Eventually, even though the measurement didn't suggest so quite yet, I just tried to push it in there, and it worked. So then I put some anti-seize compound on the seat post, and yay! Now I got a complete bike. The tire pressure I'm going to experiment with. I'm going to put it back up to about 70 pounds, and then I'm going to hop on it and ride it. As you can see, this isn't a Brooks. This is a much cheaper seat that you can order on Amazon. I will leave a link in the description, and very soon in one of my upcoming videos I will compare this seat, how it feels, to the Brooks, and I'm not sure if this is going to be the seat for this bike, but it's on there for now, and I'm definitely going to try it out. Looks interesting, doesn't it? Trust me, you don't really need the padding. What you need is a seat that kind of flexes a bit and can adapt to the shape of your behind. And I think this might be able to do this. Yeah, this is my first ride with this bike. It feels good. It feels good. This bike is calling for some effort. A fast ride. I mean, it's just screaming for it. That bike is amazing. I just went for a little ride. I'm already hooked. It shifts like butter, and When I shift into high range and just, keep going in my usual rhythm, I go faster than normal. And that's a pretty cool feeling. So, I'm going to do a big ride on this soon. Anyways, if you want to see what happens to that bike and what happens with me riding that thing, stay tuned. Subscribe. You're going to find out. I'm gloating right now because, man, that's so awesome.
Giorgio Pizzeria, Giorgio Pizzeria. Oh.